So you have a great idea. You have a solution. You have the answer to your company problems. But here comes the challenge. How do you sell this idea to your boss? How do you manage upwards? Not only manage downwards, not only get your peers on board, but how do you get your bosses on board? That's the subjects of today's conversation. Let's go. Hi, Nadia Zhiksimbayeva here from Chief Reinvention Officer, a global community of professionals that are brought together to help each other ride the waves of change, ride the waves of disruption in our economic, our business life, rather than be crushed by them. Today's the subject of the conversation came from one of the questions in our Facebook secret group, Reinvention Society. And by the way, if you want to join, find us on Facebook, get on the waiting list. We hope to have you among us. This is an amazing group of people. And one of those amazing change makers asked me recently, how do I sell my reinvention idea to the bosses, to the big shots upstairs? I have an idea, but somehow they're just not hearing me. And I truly believe it can help the company. I can truly believe it can turn things around, and they just don't understand. They don't get it. They don't seem to be very interested. So here's my take on things. How do you sell things to people upstairs? And I share this with you because I work with tons of senior executives, including chief executive officers. And I also work or consult and advise members of boards. These are bosses of the chief executive officers. So it's repeatedly what I see in the decision-making rooms, whether it's a boardroom, executive committee meeting, or somewhere else. How do you sell idea to your boss? Very simple, the same way you sell the idea to your customers. You follow the pain. You follow the place where your executives, where your bosses have real pain, something that keeps them up at night, something that really matters to them. And chances are, if they're not hearing you at this point, if they're not believing you that your solution, your idea is the one that is deserving their attention and the attention and resources and budgets of the company, most likely it's because they just cannot connect the dots between your idea and their pain point. So if you are to understand their pain point very clearly and then draw the line between your solution and their pain point, it will be very easy to sell their idea. But that requires at least two things. Number one, it requires a lot of empathy. You need to be able to pick up on the cues, and sometimes they're not verbal cues or not direct answer to the question, what really matters to my boss? What keeps them up at night? What is that they're really worried about, or they are really concerned about, that is really at the center of their agenda? That requires a lot of empathy. You need to be in their shoes, not in yours, not in the customer's shoes, but also in their shoes to be able to really understand what matters to them. So that's number one thing you do and you need to have. But number two thing, you also need to have a very good communication style. You need to be very clear and simple and direct, but also passionate and real in your delivery. So you need to work on these two things, empathy and communication. Sometimes I hear that communication is just this little thing that matters at the end. In reality, of course, research after research, study after study show that the form matters no less than content, than the essence of what you're trying to say. The same words, if delivered in a different form, can have completely different impact. So listen to what your bosses are caring about. What comments they give you at the meetings, what agenda items they pay attention to, and then present their idea, making a very clear connection between their worries and your solution, and paint the picture using the language that they use themselves, so that you are not speaking Japanese when your boss speaks Portuguese, metaphorically speaking, of course. So that's my take on how do you sell your idea to the bosses. There's much more to say, but start here. Listen to your boss very carefully. Understand his or her pain, and then paint a very clear connection, very clear path between your idea and their pain point. I hope that helps you just a little bit. If this was relevant or kind of brought something in your mind, if this was relevant for the situation in which you're in, or it brought up some red flags, or if you don't disagree with me and you have a greater source, greater advice, put it in comments below. Wonderful to connect as always. If you want to be part of Reinvention Society and being this community member who can have the question and answer session, find us on Facebook. And please do sign up for our mailing list, chiefreinventionofficer.com. Very, very happy to have you here. Thank you for watching. If this was helpful, share with a friend. And until then, I'll see you very, very soon. Bye.